They say the broadcast reached the outer rim in 6 hours and 17 minutes. By then, Lysara Aethonis had already read it 3 times. The transmission came through on a broadband channel. No encryption, no courtesy, no attempt at concealment. That was the first insult. The second was the voice. Cassia Morne stood on the broadcast platform of her dreadnought and spoke the way she had always spoken, with the measured cadence of someone who had already won the argument before the room knew there was one. She named her faction the Inheritors. She named herself its architect. And she named the second compact a failure of nerve, a system that had wielded coercion when it should have wielded certainty. She broadcast the proof, Aethonis fleet deployment data, current to within 48 hours, classified at the highest level the coalition possessed. The bridge went quiet in the way rooms go quiet when everyone present understands that something irreversible has just happened. Tessith Karen was the first to speak. She was standing at the secondary analysis console, her auburn braids tight against her scalp, her notation tablet already open, ink-dark fingers moving through the data columns. She did not look up when she said it. The deployment coordinates in Morne's broadcast matched the coalition's actual positions, not approximations, not intelligence estimates. The real numbers down to the patrol interval. Lysara pressed her right hand flat against the command console. The tremor she had learned to hide was present. She pressed harder. She gave 2 orders. The first went to Vex Karen. Find the source. The second went to the fleet. Hold position and transmit nothing until further notice. In the Silent Choir's communications hub, Vex received the order with the stillness of someone who had been expecting it. She rolled her sleeves precisely twice, pulled her secondary terminal to the primary position, and began pulling communication logs with the methodical patience of a woman who understood that the worst thing a hunter can do is run. She started with the obvious. Every officer who had touched the deployment data in the past 72 hours. Every terminal that had accessed the classified channel. Every transmission that had left the fleet's encrypted network since the last position update. The logs were clean, impossibly, insultingly clean, which meant the leak was not in the logs. In the Jessard bunker, Halia Vaughan received Lysara's warning transmission before the broadband broadcast completed its propagation to the outer corridor. She set down her rifle, read the message twice, and set the rifle back in her prosthetic stump's crook with the particular economy of someone who has learned to work with what remains. She sent one reply, holding. The broadcast reached Phelan at hour 3. The Ash Singers in the central dome heard Morne's voice through a salvaged relay speaker, their data chip necklaces clicking softly in the amber light as they listened. They did not understand the political architecture of what they were hearing. They understood the tone. They had been memorizing the tones of civilizations in their final hours for a century. They recognized this one. On the flagship bridge, Tessith had isolated the specific data signature of the leaked deployment coordinates. It was not a transmission from inside the fleet. It was a relay, a passive device, broadcasting continuously, pulling positional data from the fleet's own navigational transponders and packaging it for external receipt. Someone had planted it. Someone who was no longer here to turn it off. She brought the analysis to Lysara in a single folded page of notation tablet output. She did not apologize for what the data implied. She had learned, in the years since her own betrayal, that apology was a performance and accuracy was a gift. In the choir hub, Vex had already arrived at the same conclusion by a different path. She had pulled the archive footage, 6 months of it, and she had found the face she was looking for in a technician's log from the fleet's last major refit. A nondescript man of medium build with light brown skin and grey-brown eyes designed to slide out of memory. A thin braided cord around his left wrist, the colour of old blood. Operative Marsh, dead for 4 months, killed in a compact operation that the Coalition had confirmed and closed. He had been talking ever since. Vex held the still frame on her screen for a long moment. Then she keyed the channel to Lysara and said quietly that there was no mole. There was a ghost. The relay's location took another hour to triangulate. It was embedded in the hull plating of the fleet's secondary supply tender, a vessel that had been in continuous service for 11 months, never boarded for inspection, never flagged. Marsh had installed it during the refit, a passive device drawing power from the tender's own systems, transmitting on a frequency so close to navigational background noise that it had never triggered an anomaly alert. Lysara stood at the cracked viewport of her bridge and looked at the tender through the emergency resin seal, a vessel she had trusted with her fleet's logistics for nearly a year. The tremor in her right hand moved up her arm. She let it. She called Kale Thyros on the encrypted channel. His face appeared on the secondary screen, lean and sharp-cheeked, the surgical scar catching the screen light, his prosthetic hand resting on the console with the exposed joint mechanisms of a man who has nothing left to hide. She told him what they had found. She told him what she intended to do with it. Kale was quiet for 3 seconds. Then he said, "Give me the false coordinates and I will be where you need me." The plan was simple in the way that only desperate plans can be. Instead of destroying the relay immediately, they would use it. One final transmission, fed through the tender's navigational transponders. False deployment data placing the Coalition fleet in a position that looked like a vulnerability and was in fact a prepared intercept vector. If Morne's intelligence apparatus was as good as her broadcast suggested, she would receive the false data within hours and move her Inheritor fleet to exploit the gap. And Kale would be waiting in the gap. Tessith built the false data set in 40 minutes. Her notation tablet was covered in microglyphs by the time she handed the finished package to Lysara. She said nothing about the elegance of the trap. She said nothing about the fact that she recognized in its architecture the same methodology the Ledger had used to position her years ago. She handed it over and waited. Lysara fed the package to the relay at hour 5, 47 minutes before the broadcast completed its full propagation to the outermost contested death worlds. Then she ordered the relay destroyed. The supply tender's hull plating was cut open by a maintenance team in envirosuits. The relay extracted with gloved hands and brought to the bridge in a sealed container no larger than a fist. Lysara looked at it for a moment. A dead man's last act, still warm from the tender's power supply, and then handed it to Vex without speaking. Vex dropped it on the deck and stepped on it. In the hours that followed, the Coalition's communication channels filled with the noise of the broadcast's arrival on the outer worlds. Fear, anger, the particular political vertigo of populations who had been promised stability and were now being told the floor was made of glass. Halia Vaughan's transmissions came in at intervals, holding the canal house, holding the granary belt, holding the corridor. The word holding repeated like a prayer or a fist. On Phelan, the Ash Singers did not hold. They sang. They sang the welcome song they had sung every evening for 60 years, their data chip necklaces clicking in the amber light, their mineral paste voices carrying through the dome's thin air. They did not know what the song did to the progenitor systems beneath the salt flat. They knew what it did to the people inside the dome. That was enough. Morne's response came at hour 9. Not a transmission, a fleet movement. Her Inheritor dreadnoughts, 3 of them, repositioning toward the coordinates the false data had specified. Moving with the confidence of someone who believed she was exploiting a weakness, moving into the prepared position. Kale's fleet was already there. Lysara watched the positional data resolve on the tactical display, the fleet markers converging like a sentence completing itself. She did not smile. She pressed her right hand flat against the console again, and this time the tremor was less than it had been. On her mantle, the luminous threads shifted. One dark patch, a contested world along the outer corridor, silent for 2 weeks, brightened. The map updated in real time. She watched it happen. She opened the broadband channel. She gave no title. She used no diplomatic cadence. She spoke in the register of a commander who has already made her decision and is now simply informing the galaxy of it. She said, "The Inheritors have moved. We were ready, and we will remain ready." She closed the channel. The bridge was quiet around her. Skeleton crew, unmanned stations, the cracked viewport sealed with resin, the Aethonis sigil on the bulkhead scarred but present. She stood in the center of it and let the mantle's threads keep moving, updating in real time, because that was what the map was for. The war had not begun with Morne's broadcast. The war had been ongoing for seasons, fought in corridor battles and signal relays, and the mineral-paced voices of singers on dying worlds. What Morne had done was name it. What Lysara had done in the hours since was answer.